Alright, what you see here is a Buckhead Bowhunter ceiling fan. It's a 54-inch ceiling fan that was sold at Bass Pro Shops. They might have sold them at Cabela's and stuff like that, or some other outdoor stores and such. Maybe LL Bean as well, I'm not too sure because I didn't see them sold back in the day. My dad happened to have bought this fan along with another one. I know he told me he got them at Bass Pro Shops. So I think they were cheaper than what they usually would have went for retail. He got them for like $200 each, with the intention of installing them at his log cabin to replace the two Hampton Remington 4s there in the antique brass. Now, I already had a feeling these weren't going to be such high quality fans, but they're nice looking, and it is mostly for the look that you're paying for it. But they do use a 188 motor, which is something I didn't realize when I first got it. It was just until recently that I saw on the box that it says 188 motor equal to a Power Max motor. But I'm looking at the motor at it, and it is actually indeed a 188 motor. And the high speed on it does make sense because it doesn't go super slow on the high speed. It actually does have a pretty good high speed to it considering the size of the blades and such being more wide and all that. So they do add more weight to the fan. But yeah, it's a very unique looking fan. Definitely, I can have the outdoorsy look, but it's not like an overkill. It's more so the blades that really give it more of the outdoorsy look, and the motor and all that itself is just more simple looking, but it has like some outdoor elements to it, like having a deer and two hooves on it and the antlers. So it's like one that it will go with it, but it's not like you could have like in a more simple looking home and it'll still look nice. Like you have like a more of a country look to it, where it's not like one that you had to have like in a house that looks like it's meant for that. Like you could even have like in an apartment and like if you had like a picture of like a barn like that or just something more simple in the background, it would still work out there. So it's not like I would have to be in like a log cabin for it to work. Now, my dad still does have the log house. For those who are wondering, I do know it's kind of confusing that he has a new house with my grandmother and such. So he's hasn't sold that one. He sold my grandmother's. He may or may not sell that one. He's thinking about maybe using it as like a camp house for like the summer and such, or just like a guest house if someone comes up, like my brother and his wife and kids come up. Like at least they have a space they can stay over and such. So I don't know. We're not sure what's gonna happen with that one yet, but he still has the other one there, and what he's planning to do most likely is install the other Buckhead Bowhunter he has. Well, he gave this one to me, but the one that he has, he's most likely going to install it in his bedroom at the new house that he has, which I think would look awesome in there. And he's not one that really needs super strong airflows. He just needs to breeze at night, and this would definitely do that job without a question. But yeah, I was thinking of like putting these blades on like a Delta 2, but it's also the motor vents that are on it that are pretty unique as well. But yeah, he'll think of still installing one of them at that place. But I was telling him it might be better to install that one that he has at the new place because with the ceiling that he has there, it's plain white, so the blades will stand out a lot more. They won't blend in with the wooden ceiling at the log cabin, and also with it being more higher up, if you was to install it at the log cabin, people won't really notice it as much compared to like if it was in his bedroom. Plus, you would be able to enjoy it more seeing it with a bedroom that has lower ceiling compared to the log cabin. So yeah. Now these retail for about like 200 or like three. I remember this one was like 350 originally, which I think is overpriced for it. I mean, it has really nice blades. Don't get me wrong. I really do love the wood carvings on it. It's definitely has a lot of detail to it, and it is actual wood. It's not MDF or the cheaper. Well, I mean, it's definitely higher quality than the Hampton Bay ones that they would do, like with the wood carving blades. I can definitely say that much. But the performance on it really isn't validating for the $350 look to it. But I do know some of these outdoor looking fans, they do go for higher price and such. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like that could also be another reason why they didn't sell them for so many. For like maybe they only had them around for like maybe. I think they started selling them around 2004, 2005 ish, and maybe up until 2008. So they only had them for a few years. either the John Marshall Design Company and all that, maybe they just stopped selling them because they went out of business. I'm not sure. It's really not much known about the company, but it is definitely a very, very hard to come by fan. It's along with the other models that they had. They had like a mossy oak one, a fishing one, yeah, all sorts of like outdoorsy ones, a turkey hunting. Like even ones that just have like plain looking blades and like this with the unique vents and the blade arms. They did have a lot of them that were just like that too. And they do have one that was like an all camouflage one as well, which was pretty unique, I feel. But yeah, it has these nice pull chains on it. But yeah, I asked my dad if I could have this one because he definitely wasn't going to use both of them. So I figured I'd ask him for it. I got it back from him in 2015, around the fall. And since it's been a long time since I've tested it, especially since the last time I tested it was back in the fall of 2015, I figured it was definitely due to be brought back for a remake. And also just to get a better accurate airflow from it, because when I tested it, it was floor tested and also in a space that was more confined, so it definitely couldn't move as much air as it would have. So now that I have it hung up, I can actually get a more accurate airflow rating from it. So yeah. Yeah, I really do like it. One thing I would definitely say, it isn't made by King of Fans, so it's not gonna be the highest quality. You can definitely see some parts that are similar to it, like from the Huntingtons or like the Reddingtons, especially the switch housing is definitely the exact same thing they'd use like on the Reddington, except the light pull chain is not in the center; it's on the side. But that was one thing I noticed about them, that they look basically identical to the Reddington, except for the motor housing being a different shape. Let me see where the tag is for it. It has to be from at least mid to late 2000s. It can't be like past 2010, obviously, because. But yeah, there's a sticker. I do have a video of me doing like a UO sticker of it from many years ago. But it is made by King of Fans, and here's a better view of the information. So I always found it to be an interesting fan, mostly because of the blades, if anything, because you don't really see too many fans that have like yeah, you'll have them wooden carved, but to have like an actual image carved onto the blade, something I felt was always interesting about it. I'm not really a huge outdoorsy person. I like the outdoors and such, but I'm more of a city person, but I do have an appreciation for the design to it. I can definitely appreciate it. I mean, I did kind of grow up like with my dad being more of a country guy and such, but since I was raised by my mom and such, like, I mean, he did raise me too, but like I lived with my mom. I was definitely more of a city guy, but I do like the country life and all that too. But it's just I'm more of a city guy, but I do have an appreciation for some country elements and stuff like decor wise and all that. It's definitely nostalgic for me for like camping and all that with my dad, or just spending time with him as a kid. So yeah, it's definitely a very unique fan. I really do like it. I wish they sold them for a bit longer, but I guess they just didn't sell too well. But I mean, they weren't really sold like at big box stores. They were just sold at like some outdoor stores. So I guess they just didn't last. They didn't sell enough of them and such. But also they were not cheap either. So that's also another reason. Occasionally you'll see them on like eBay or Marketplace, but they tend to sell very quick. So they do have resale value and such. There are definitely people who would buy them still. But yeah, I got to show the vents quickly. There's an antler one. But yeah, let me go ahead and show the lights. It does use those metal clamping things for the light. So let me just shut it off. Which I'm really not a big fan of because they can't. This one right here, I think it's a bit loose. It's not gonna fall out, but sometimes they don't hold the glass too well, and then that can cause vibration or and such or humming because of it. I prefer if they were just regular screws, or even just those screw-on ones, like the ones that lock them, like tighten them in place and such. But I guess it's definitely like my least favorite way to like have them go on, just because for that exact reason there. Sometimes they can actually hold them well, sometimes they don't. I don't know if this case is like one of them that really doesn't do the best job holding it in place. But there's not much I can really do. I don't want to mess with it too much and damage it. And yeah, I mean, it has 4 lights in it, so it definitely does a good job lighting up the space. But I'm gonna go up closer just to show the blaze and all that with the light on. Really see the detail in it a lot. I remember as a kid, I always wanted to try to get my dad to buy one of those Hampton Bay Lodge ceiling fans. But he liked it, but he felt this was more unique. And now that I see, like, just seeing it, it is more unique in a sense because, yeah, you see fans that look like the Hampton Bay Lodge and from like other companies, but you don't really see any fans that have like a natural wood carving image on them like that and such. So, and at the end of the day, I do feel like this is more unique looking because of it. Because you really don't see something like this with like an image carved onto it of anything. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and start off on the low speed. I really don't think I'd install this anywhere, like unless I had like an outdoorsy room in a place I was buy in the future. But the fan I've always just wanted to have just because like the memories attached to it with my dad and such. I mean, he really just is a person that likes nature a lot, so it's like this one definitely, it's a very nature looking fan and such. I was even suggesting to him that the one that he has would even look nice in the sunroom at the new place, but the only thing is that I'd be afraid to have something that with as nice looking blazes like this in a room like that in the winter. I mean, it's definitely not as powerful as like the Hunter Adirondack, which I feel like would have been the best outdoor looking fan for him to get. But like in terms of performance and all that, but like the rustic looking ones and all that. But this definitely, it's a nice one. I feel like knowing him especially, like I definitely see why he likes this one the most, just because of the blades. Like it is most of the blades that are the most unique thing about it, but the vents are pretty cool too. It's not really something you see anywhere else, so I can definitely see why he likes this a lot. Yeah, I'm still not sure why we never got around to installing the ones that this and the other one at the wild cabin. I think it was just more so didn't feel like it'd be worth it. I do feel like the Reddingtons definitely do a better would be are better for that space just because it's so high up. Something like this you'd rather have installed like in a space that has a lower ceiling, in my opinion. Not that they were no good there, but it's just in terms of moving air around, they definitely. I mean, I don't know. I feel like they have 1.8 motor, but these do move good air. But I feel like the Remington's a bit stronger only because it goes faster and such. So like for a bedroom, this wouldn't be bad, but like if it's on a bedroom with a pretty high ceiling and such, and you have it like on an angled ceiling, and it's like not lowered or anything like that, that's a different story. I remember we were originally going to put this one in his bedroom. The other one we were going to do after. So what we did was we got the 2 remotes. We were going to put this up, but my dad figured it would just be better. He was even thinking of maybe just putting the blades on it, but I think it's that they wouldn't mount properly. But he also figured that it'd be better just to have the fans go off the right fan, like the blades go off the right fan and all that. But then he just figured, it's just better just to have the fan working instead of swapping it out for another one and such. So that's why this one never ended up getting installed. But this fan basically would have been the first fan I ever took part of installing, since it was like around 2009, 2010-ish that we had them and such. So before the Hampton Bay Clarkson that me and him installed at my grandmother's house in her bedroom to replace the Home Trends Hugger fan, the 42-inch white one, this would have actually been the first ceiling fan I installed. So for that reason also, it's also very sentimental to me for that reason. And I'm actually glad that he gave me this exact one instead of the one that was still sealed, because this was actually would have been the first one I would have installed with my wife and such. So yeah. If I was to ever find another one of these, like a different design to them, I definitely wouldn't mind grabbing them just because it's hard to come by. In terms of me keeping them, I probably wouldn't keep them. I'd probably just sell them to somebody. I mean, either someone who's really into it or a collector. This specific one, however, I definitely would hold on to, and I obviously would never sell this one because of my dad and such. And the chances of me finding another one would be very slim. Something how pricey people try to sell these for, and also they sell for the price that they ask a lot of times. So there's also that. Yeah, I mean, it goes a bit faster on low speed than I'd think it would, but considering the size of the blades, it is moving a nice, refreshing breeze on low speed. Though I'm not like unimpressed. It's nothing spectacular, but it's also low speed, so it's not like you wanted to move a lot of air on low to begin with, and such. All right, let me show it the white. See, if my dad was to install this in the co-op cabin, he would have to do it like on the actual wooden beams, like where it would be low enough that people would really notice it, not so high up, like the Reddingtons there. I think that might have been the other reason why we never installed them there. Like he has said that he still considered putting one there, but I told him that honestly I think it would be better in a bedroom because that way it's on a lower ceiling, the blades won't blend in with the wooden ceiling at the log cabin and stand out a lot more. Now, if he doesn't go along with putting that there, what we probably put it in his bedroom instead would be like maybe a bronze Panama or something, or even some maybe cheap Harbor Breeze or like a Hampton Bay Windhurst. I think wouldn't be bad. It's just the blades on those I know tend to warp downward a lot. Not the blade arms, just the blades and such, if they're not being used. I do feel like the oil rub bronze Hampton Bay Windhurst would look really nice in my dad's bedroom, or even in his dog cabin. It's just the blades warping on them downwards kind of puts me away from that. But a bronze Panama wouldn't look bad in his bedroom either. But he said even something like he's not really one that cares for strong air movement and such. Like even if you gave him like a Littleton, he'd sleep fine with that. In all honesty, I want maybe not a Littleton, but like just like a 42-inch fan for like a big room. Like he slept well with the Hampton Bay Clarksons at night. So I mean, that just goes to show you. But yeah, it's a really nice looking fan. Like now that I'm seeing it up again or put together again after all these years, and seeing it installed instead of being floor tested, it's definitely a pricey fan. I definitely see my dad got them for 200, which isn't a bad deal. If you paid a 350 for them, I feel like that would have been a lot more of an overkill. But I mean, my dad, I know my dad would enjoy them. So like for him to pay 200 for each for them, it's really not a bad deal considering he'd enjoy them. I mean, he gave this one to me, but I mean, he definitely hasn't gotten his money out of it, which is why I've been trying to convince him to install that new one in his bedroom. But, yeah. All right, let me go ahead and move it up to medium. One thing I do know is if we end up, which we're probably going to end up putting the other one in his bedroom at the new place, but what will probably end up happening is it'll be on I'll probably have it hooked up to a remote, not a wall control, because yeah, I could put it with longer pull chains, but I figured it might be better to do a wall control or like a remote control to it, for the fact that he can control it from his bed instead of having to get up at night to change the speeds on it. I mean, it could do a wall control, but I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I feel like the remote wouldn't be a bad option either, and such. Like again, like he wouldn't have to change the speeds by getting up in the middle of the night if it's just on a 4-speed wall control or something like that. Whereas if it was just a remote control, he can control it from anywhere in the bedroom, which I think would be a better option. Has a little bit of a hum to it, but I mean, from what I remember, the Reddingtons hum quite a bit too, the ones that he have. So I really don't think it would bother him. Not sure why it's wobbling, in all honesty. It might be, I mean, these do mount onto a mounting bracket that's basically the same exact one from a Hampton Bay. You know, that means a lot of parts are basically what you see on a Hampton Bay fan, in all honesty. Wondering if maybe there's like a wire that's kind of caught in between the ball. That could be why it's wobbling a little bit. Because the blades are perfectly aligned. I didn't cut the wires on this just because in case it was ever, the some chance of it ever getting installed in the long down are very slim, but I also just rather keep them the long way in case. I mean, also in case that my dad ever did want to do a dual install or have two of them, I wouldn't mind giving it back to him. Like he did tell me that I could always get it back too, but. Chances of that happening are very slim, but just for that reason, I kind of rather not cut the wires on it. But no, it's definitely pushing a good breed for medium, and it's funny because a lot of fans that you see that have like big leaf-looking blades like these, the high speed is usually this right here, where they really don't go too fast. I mean, actually, no. By the looks of it, there is one blade that's just a tiny bit out of clock, but it's not. I'm surprised it's make. It has to be like one of the wires probably in the way. Probably I just can't see it. Man, it's no biggie. It's moving more in than I thought it would have. I mean, it had a 188 motor, but compared to when I floor tested it, I didn't feel much. But also, I did feel more of it from the reverse side, which is it's one of those few cases that when I floor tested, I felt more air from it as if it was on reverse when it really wasn't. Alright, show it to light. But yeah, definitely a nice looking fan, and especially when it's in motion, it looks nice as well. Yeah, like it's like a very good chance it's gonna go. The other one's gonna go in his bedroom. Just more so getting it out of the cabin and bringing it over there. It's just who knows when that would happen. Maybe around the spring or summertime. Definitely not right now. I know he's not really planning to have any of the fans installed since it's like fall winterish time already, which is understandable. I mean, he could use them for reverse, but it's just he'd be more tempted to really try to get them installed more like when it's you use them more for like the air circulation for like cooling you down, not so much rushing to get them up for like heat circulation. But, yeah, let me go ahead and shut off the light and move it up to the high speed. And now that I'm seeing it on high speed, honestly, it really doesn't have a bad high speed to it. Like it's almost like a typical high speed you see on most fans nowadays, just a tiny bit slower. But for it having bigger blades, I guess it definitely isn't a slow fan. I remember when I first tested, I felt like it went slower, but it might have just been my memory. Also, it could have just been because it was upside down, so it might have caused it to go a bit slower too. That could be the other reason. The performance on this, I definitely can say it's about like your mid-tier, average Hampton Bay air movement and such. So it's really not horrible air movement. Like it's nothing great either, but if they're having a 188 motor, definitely does help it out and such. Like at least it has appropriate size motor for and such, not like a 153 motor. It's definitely I think that'd be good enough for like a living room or like a bedroom and such. I mean, it's definitely cooling me down a bit. It's a bit humid down here today, anyways. Yeah, I already know this will definitely be more than enough air movement for my dad. I mean, he usually keeps his bedroom cool, anyway. So it's not like you need something to really cool him down a whole lot. It's underneath it. It definitely is pushing a decent breeze on high. It's definitely pretty good air mover though for the type of blades it has. I do feel that if the blades were pitched just a tiny bit more, it would move even more air, but I really would not want to mess with them. Because then they'd probably end up hitting the white shades or something. So I'd rather just leave them the way they are. But it's not like there's a lot of 52-inch or 54-inch, 52-inch-ish fans I've tested that don't move this much air on high. And so I was like, there's some that I've tested out. There's definitely a lot of them that I've tested out better air movers than this, but at least with the price you're paying, it's not really a bad air mover. It's more, I mean, obviously you're paying the price that they sold him for was more for the looks, but at least it's something that performs pretty well for what it is as well. It's definitely not a high-end fan, but it's not a really cheaply made fan either. The metal parts on it are pretty decent as well, especially the blade arms. The blade arms are actually pretty solid, if anything. The rest of it's kind of iffy, but the blade arms are really solid and stuff. So it's not like you'd really have to worry about the blade arms drooping on this. Like they're definitely like stronger than Hunter blade arms. Just to give an idea. Not like Hunter original ones, but like they're about like on par with like a Hunter blade arm, if not better. Another reason why I feel like it's humming is not so much the light shades, but the fact that it uses a metal ball on it. So whenever we get onto the stone, one of my dad's, I'll definitely swap it out for a plastic ball. That way, it won't hum that much. Probably still hum a little bit just because of the light shades and all that, but at least it'll be reduced a bit. I mean, if it doesn't bother him, I don't think it would. If it ends up humming a lot, then that's a different story. But if it hums like this, I don't think it would really bother him. I mean, I definitely feel like a Hunter Adirondack would be better performance-wise, but as much as I like those fans, one thing I do know about them is that they are known for not being the best fans for lighting and such. They're definitely a beautiful fan and such, but it's just they're not really best for if you really need something for lighting, whereas this would be. So that's why I feel like it would definitely be better to use this for my dad in like a bedroom and such, sort of like a Hunter Adirondack. Yeah, it's definitely like it's not the worst air mover, but it's like not the best either. But it's like your average air mover from a ceiling fan. But for a fan that has these type of blades, I can definitely say it's pretty good air movement. So it's really not a bad air mover at all. It's definitely a pretty good air mover for the type of blades that it has. So I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with the performance. And I do wonder if the cap values, if they were increased, if it would really make a big difference in air movement or not. But it's strong enough air movement that it's definitely good enough for like someone to sleep with at night. So, I go ahead and shut off a new spin down, and then I'll show it on reverse. Yeah, I remember this specific one was like I think it like won some sort of like an award for like being the best out selling one out of all of them and such. Or it was like product of the year, something like that. For like outdoor stuff. Like outdoor furnishings for like a house. I think it was like for the year 2005 or 2006. If you look it up online, you'll see, on like Google Images, you'll see a picture of like two Buckhead Bowhunter, and there's one of the pictures that will show like, oh, it was like a product of the year type thing for like the catalog and all that. I mean, out all of them, I definitely feel like it's the most unique looking one, especially because of the blades. I gotta say, I'm surprised it actually. I thought it would have stopped a bit sooner, but it looks like it might stop a little bit. It might have a longer spin than expected. The reason why I'm surprised by that, it's not because of the. I mean, with the heavy blades, it kind of makes sense, but what's kind of surprising me is just more so that the fans bearings really aren't broken in. Because the only time I've tested it really is when I first tested it a while back and such. So it hasn't really been, the motors and bearings aren't really broken in. All right, it's coming to a complete stop. Now, for reverse. One thing I'm not sure is if in my dad's room if it's a plastic box or not. If it's a fan rated metal box, then it can definitely go up right away, the one that he has. If not, I'll definitely have to wait until we swap the box out for it. If it has one of those plastic blue ones. Which, considering that the part that his bedroom is in is the addition, it's most likely it has a plastic blue box. I mean, it's not really a big deal, but I'll definitely kind of. It won't be like something that's done right away then. Like, it's just like something we would have to do first before putting it up. I mean, who knows? I'm still. I mean, I might put it with the remote. I might think it might be easier just to put it on the wall control. In all honesty, just because of the receiver might not fit into the canopy all too well. same time, at least like if there was something wrong with the receiver and all that, you wouldn't have to like get up there to swap out the whole thing. Whereas with the wall control, it's just swap out the wall control and that's it. Yeah, it's definitely a fan I think will look good in like a living room, a bedroom, even a kitchen or a dining room or like a sunroom of sorts. But a sunroom that at least is like enclosed well and has good heating or such. I don't know, I mean, it wouldn't be bad. My sunroom at my dad's place is this. I haven't seen how that one is in the winter yet, so it's kind of hard to really determine. I don't feel like the blades really get warpy looking there, but it's just, I just feel like that something else would be more appropriate for that type of room. Plus, my dad's kind of trying to steer away from like the really rustic looking ones there, like something that can look a little bit rustic, but not as rustic as this for that room, from what he was telling me. So yeah. So now with that'll be it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for more videos to come.